Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. Today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 hardest boss battles of the century so far. For this list, we'll be looking at the most challenging, rage-inducing bosses from the years 2000 to 2023. Please share in the comments if you have ever had a boss from this century that you wish you could tear your hair out. Number 10. Absolute Radiance. The Godmaster expansion by developer Team Cherry made the final monster in Hollow Knight an even more formidable challenge to defeat. Unquestionable power combined with an unnaturally fast rate of release characterize Absolute Radiance. Regarding its projectile-based attacks, the majority of them have either seen a capacity boost or a strength increase. Fortunately, by the time you confront it, your small knight ought to be strong. It's also an improved version of a monster you've already faced, so even though doing it is a pain, you should know what to do. Absolute Radiance, fought over 6 phases, is the best that Hollow Knight has to offer. Please tell us in the comments. Number 9. Maneater. A proven approach to ramp up the difficulty is to introduce a second boss while you're engaged in combat with the first. Maneater is without a doubt the greatest enemy in Demon Souls, although most bosses in From Software's games are going to be difficult. It is fought on a somewhat narrow bridge and has the power required to make its studio proud. It's annoying to move about and launch attacks in a smaller space, but not as much as having a second Maneater. The boss will call in a friend to finish you off when enough time runs out, or if its health bar gets to 25% full, which will double your task. Number 8. GNA. And here we believed Sigrun to be evil. Granted, the God of War's Valkyrie Queen of 2018 presented a strenuous battle, but Sony Santa Monica excelled with GNA. If you can complete it, Ragnarok, the last major post-game task, ends spectacularly. Even if you completely lower the difficulty level, her attacks will still deal a significant amount of damage because she has the greatest power level of any opponent by default, which is 9. Her attacks are unpredictable for the most part and can quickly deplete your health bar if they land, not to mention her 2 unblockable grabs, which are much more frustrating than any of her previous blows. Number 7. Ravenbeak. Fear of Metroid. Like its predecessors, Metroid Dread maintains the high level of difficulty that the series is known for, and Ravenbeak is the perfect adversary to truly instill fear in us. The Chozo warrior requires lightning-fast reflexes during its 3 devastating phases, unless you want your health to swiftly run out. It makes no difference where you are in the arena, either right next to him or across from him. He can tear you to pieces with his claws and blast you apart with equal ease. There is nothing Metroid has given us this century that compares to his strength and agility. He might be the hardest character in the entire series when it comes to the ultra-hard fear mode. Number 6. Dr. Ks Robot Cuphead. There's no comparing the frustration of fighting Dr. Ks Robot, even though Chef Saltbaker of the DLC almost did. The most of the boss fights in Cuphead are quite easy for the player to defeat, but this one truly put our commitment to finishing it to the test. During the initial phase, you blast apart the 3 components while the robot uses various bullets. Further attacks are added for every piece that is destroyed. There are homing bombs to be aware of in Phase 2, and electrified barriers and more projectiles to avoid in Phase 3. The entire situation is a real hell with very little weaponry to keep things balanced. Number 5. Sans. Undertale. Sans will be waiting for you if you decide to take the genocide path, which entails killing every enemy you encounter rather than sparing them. Besides, you really do deserve his wrath. The fight against Sans is by far the biggest task Undertale has to offer. It absolutely goes against his positive outlook. Like many others, you'll enter the fight by avoiding blows with your small heart. However, the majority of those attacks happen quickly and are impossible to predict. There will be many trial and error sessions necessary to succeed, which translates to many fatalities at the hands of this lovable skeleton. It requires the greatest resolve. Number 4. Orphan of Cost. Bloodstained. We're not sure whether aspect of this creature scares us more, its meaty weapon or its propensity to scream when it charges at you. As the last boss of the previous Hunter's DLC, the Orphan of Cost is an utter beast to battle in true From Software flair. Its lethal leaps make it just as, if not more, oppressive than many other monsters in the game, despite its much smaller stature. You can bid a significant amount of your health farewell if you're bitten by one. Fortunately, it doesn't change into something scarier throughout its second part. It just becomes much faster and more aggressive, which, given its initial phase, is saying a lot. Number 3. Absolute Virtue. The Final Fantasy 15th. We'll confess that this one needs an asterisk. Absolute Virtue, which may be found in a franchise MMO game, was created to be unbeatable, at least according to Square Enix's specifications. Its large health pool, propensity to self-heal every turn, and usage of the Benediction spell, a complete heal that also removed status effects, were the causes of this. The issue was that the studio withheld this information, which led to groups of players expending actual hours on pointless combat. Although some were successful, Square Enix responded by eliminating all strategies for beating the game. Absolute Virtue was finally nerfed, making him tough but at least beatable, only after a wave of protest. Number 2. Melenia, Blade of Miquella, Elden Ring. If a boss in any other game said they had never experienced defeat, we would be glad to wake them up. However, we knew we would die a lot in a From Software game. Melenia swiftly established a well-deserved reputation as the unicorn of extremely difficult boss battles in Elden Ring. It's really difficult to avoid her because of her longsword and multi-hit flurry attack. Furthermore, you will become more stressed than usual when you take damage because it will heal her even if you block. Phase 2 adds Scarlet Rod, a status effect that gradually causes damage to her attacks and restores nearly her whole health bar. It's okay to call in buddies for this one. Before we go any further, don't forget to hit the bell to receive updates on our most recent videos and to subscribe to our channel. You can choose to receive notifications for every video or only the infrequent ones. Make sure to turn on notifications in your phone's settings while using it. Number 1. Isen, the Sword Saint. Since supporters cannot be summoned in Sekiro, your only option against the game's final boss is to pray that your abilities are strong enough. Anything else than a From Software CEO would feel out of place, and Isen, the Sword Saint, most definitely deserves the top spot. Having just faced Genichiro before this, you'll already be nervous. Isen's 3 protracted phases will leave you feeling severely outclassed, even if that wasn't the case. His AoE strikes and sword slashes will surprise you with their unexpected range. With every pause, his patterns become increasingly erratic, making it difficult to predict what will happen next. Although it was not an easy win to earn, it is one that is very fulfilling. Are you ready for some more fantastic gaming content? Make sure to see this Mojo Plays video here. Remember to hit the bell and subscribe in order to receive updates on our most recent videos.